You're listening to the AID Network.
Hey friends, welcome back to another sample of Adventures in Design from our Freedom Week, which was 10 interviews, 50 questions answered, all about freelance. Today you'll hear Dan Kuhlken of DKNG Studios talk about his intense focus that he's been able to create over the years to make him not only one of the best illustrators that I know, but one of the most productive designers that I know. Today you'll hear about his extreme focus, how he designs the perfect workday around all the other factors in his life, and how he makes sure that he can stick to the calendar that DKNG has laid out to keep all their clients and projects moving along in a timely fashion. Let's jump in right now. It's Dan Kuhlken from Freedom Week. To hear the entire hour-long episode and all other 4 episodes, visit our website at aid.network. One of the things that I was most impressed when I really got to look at your workflow is that you're better than anybody I know at saying this job is going to take 3 days. Mm-hmm. And after day 1, you have something that looks like it. After day 2, I've seen it damn near complete. Mm-hmm. And at day 3, you're just polishing and shining, and normally done ahead of time to be like, yeah, if you want to do a dog party, I can do a dog party. So
yeah, it's more like 2.5 days.
How have you learned how to follow the schedule? Like, there's something in you where you can put 3 days in a calendar and you just aggressively work at a pace that allows you to get it done in 3 days. Many of us listening, me, the one who's talking, know you put 3 days in, 6 days later, you're like, how is it still going on? Everything starts to back up. That's why a lot of people get frustrated with managing a calendar, because they don't see it realistic, because they don't know how to stay inside the allocated time.
I mean, in a lot of cases, it just comes down to me having to get it done, because I will allot 2 days for something, but the 2 days after that is the beginning of another project. So if I were to fuck around and slow down on something, then everything gets pushed, which affects multiple clients too. Mm-hmm. It's not just me. I work very visually in terms of like scheduling, so I prioritize the calendar mostly, where I'll like allot these full days for like specific projects, and then tightly afterwards I'll just lot up another couple like sections where, you know, Thursday is dedicated to this project and Friday is dedicated to this project, and I just do that week by week. And sometimes it's so filled to the point where maybe like 3 weeks there's no breathing room, and I'm at that point right now where it's like, if I don't complete half a poster today, then the whole schedule is going to get fucked up. So in order for me to make sure it gets done, I'll wake up as early as I can and get as much as I can done early in the day, so I have less anxiety about it. Mm-hmm. And luckily, you know, I'll be at like the 3 p.m. moment, and I'll be like, okay, it's okay for me to like walk away from this particular project and focus on other things to help myself feel less anxious about the next day when I have to do the second half.
How far ahead do you allow your brain to think?
Yeah.
A lot of people just look at what's right in front of them, and then when it's done, they go, what do I have to do next? Are you already tuned in? Like, maybe there's a poster that you have to design next week, or maybe there's a client job that you got to start next Thursday. When do you start thinking about the next project, the third out project, the fourth out project? Or are you one at a time?
I would say my tendency is to go one at a time, but I do know that is problematic in terms of, if we do have 8 things going on at once and I only want to focus on one thing, like that's a bit of a nightmare for Nathan. I've gotten better at multitasking, and in the past couple of years, have gotten better at putting things down and starting other things and leaving certain aspects of projects unfinished in order to start prioritizing other projects, which is really hard to transition into, but it actually helps relieve time in the end. Anything I can do to like make my anxiety go down, I'll practice that whole new mentality. And taking breaks and stopping something and starting something else and then coming back to that original project, I've found, although was super stressful in the beginning, has actually helped my overall stress.
When you know that you've got to get a half a poster done by the end of today, like whatever, DKNG has that calendar that you guys use the golden rule, and you know that there's a milestone that has to be met by end of day.
Yeah.
When you get at noon or 1 o'clock and you look, okay, I've made 3 feathers and they were a lot harder than what I thought, but I need about 20 more feathers.
Yep.
What do you do then when you start to see like, oh, I've bitten off more than I chew? Have you found a way to work harder or to put your head down? Like, is there a turbo mode that you can go into, or do you have to be like, oh, I got to slide the schedule around? Because it seems to me you have this ability to get into the zone and just go faster and harder.
That is true, but I do like to plan ahead of time in terms of, let's say it is like that kind of feather situation. If I see 20 feathers, then I will like mathematically tell myself how much time I have per feather. So I don't jump in and make an extraordinarily detailed feather and then figure it out after the fact. I come up with a style guide that makes sense for the allotted time. And a lot of our work is done that way. It's just based off efficiency and getting it done in the time that we've structured our week for. The same poster with same concept and similar style could take twice as long, depending on how much detail you want to put into the zoom in. But if the point is just to get it done and to make it look as good as possible with as little effort as possible, quite honestly, it's kind of a win-win because we can move on to the next project and get paid, and the business continues moving forward.
This question I had of style versus time versus budget, if I'm really hearing what the core answer is that you'd like to take every project and break it down into a template into itself. There's a character. It has to be doing this. You love trying to find efficiencies where possible, because then it actually makes reaching these goals easier, because it's not like you get blindsided that it's 7 o'clock at night and you've got a foot done. You understand that, okay, I'm doing a car. I need to get the wheels done in this amount of time. Like, I should work on the body this long. I've got this amount of time to do texture. So that 5 hours, when you break it down into little achievable 30-minute, 45-minute, hour-long tasks, next thing you know, it's 5 o'clock. And you've got a car built in front of you, and you're in a good spot for when your wife gets home.
Yeah.
One of the things that I've been able to really appreciate and come to learn about you, with the last 2 things that we've talked about, it all really happens on your ability to stay focused, like very, very focused.
Totally.
How have you been able to sharpen that skill set of when Dan goes into Apple N, places his pencil sketch in there, time disappears, you figure out the system, you get work done, but you really stay focused? And a lot of people have a hard time with wandering over to YouTube or getting stuck in a text thread or going to post something on Instagram, and the next thing you know, they've been watching stories for 20 minutes. What are your rules for staying disciplined and making that daily schedule and meeting that style, time, and budget? All of this works because of a laser focus.
I will know what days I'm the most available in terms of creative work, and that's how I'll dictate things too in terms of our schedule. We have now someone that comes in and helps us ship posters on Tuesdays, and she's in the office with me. I know that it's going to be a bit harder for me to focus on doing creative work, but I can do a lot of managerial, like answering emails, updating the website, all that kind of stuff. So I can still work, but I choose what kind of work's going to be done when someone else is in the room.
Yeah.
For instance, like on Wednesdays, Debbie will not go into work until like 11. So I know that like in the morning, she's going to be walking around the house, and it's almost impossible for me to like start a new project just because there's another human being in the room. Like, I'm literally so fine-tuned to creative work by being alone that I can't even turn that part of my brain on until I have like complete silence. I don't listen to music, and I just wire in, like literally as if I'm like writing code, and I don't want to be like disturbed by anybody.
Oh, I can't get shit done when Beth's here because My work means that I have headphones on because I'm editing audio. And you know what you can't do when you're editing audio? Have a conversation. And she doesn't even want to have a conversation with me. She just wants to walk down the hallway and just go, we really need to get new curtains. And then I have to stop what I'm doing and go, what?
Yeah.
We need to get new curtains. I'm like, all right.
Yeah. And it's like, I've learned to be nicer to Debbie about this, but like, I'll be in the middle of like writing or reading an email, and she'll ask me a question, and I'll act like she kicked me in the balls. I'm like, I was so focused on that, and now I have no idea what's happening because I didn't hear you, and I lost track of what I was doing, and I'm like so frustrated. So I realized that that's just how my brain is, and it's like kind of problematic on a social level. So I've learned to wake up every day now on the dot with Lucy at 6 a.m. and start the process of my day and finding those routines.
If I'm hearing you right, though, you look at your day and you go, okay, this is what this day looks like. This day is optimal for this type of workflow.
Totally.
So you're already creating a success by knowing what the structure of that day looks like, when your alone time is, what other interferences you have, and going, okay, this is how I lay out this day for success. So when you're actually are designing and you have the car in front of you and you know that you got 5 hours and you got it broken down in pieces and parts, do you run a timer? Do you run a clock? Do you keep notes in front of you on a scratch piece of paper? Like, how do you actually track the progress, and how do you just keep that focus going? And do you have rules? Do you not allow yourself to open up any windows, or do you put your phone on moon mode? Like, how do you really get into that zone?
I don't go as far as making timers because I do feel like that would add more stress.
Okay.
I've taken down bookmarks on my web browser because I used to have like Facebook on the main tab, and I would just instinctively click it when I'm bored. And so now on a personal level, I don't even go on Facebook. Like there's no benefit to me knowing what's going on Facebook while I'm at work.
After the political fallout and they're not owning up for things and trying to not be accountable, I said, I'm done with Facebook. I don't want to add to their metrics of success.
They kind of made it easier for me because there's just way too much negative stuff happening. And when you're scrolling down the feed and then like you're seeing someone like getting murdered, it's like, fuck, why is this even like part of my life? Like it's my choice to be on this website, so I might as well just take it down. So any tabs that I do have is in a folder, and they're only DKNG related. So I will like find myself being distracted by kind of checking the stats and all our shit.
That is addictive.
It is addictive, but at least it's going into the realm of what I've always called productive procrastination, where I'm doing things that is helping the business, even if it's not exactly the task at hand that I should be doing. So
because I know you so well, productive procrastination.
That's literally going to be part of this.
I have that written down. So let's sort of go back and forth between staying focused and what I've heard you call productive procrastination, which has actually become a term that I use and a part of my workflow. You have this amazing thing where you're always working Monday through Friday. I don't know you just to blow off a day. Every now and again,
I would kill myself if I did that. I would be so guilt-ridden.
Every now and again, though, I have caught you on a Friday and you're like, I'm already watching HBO. I'm starting the weekend early. I have caught you doing that before. But
I won't do that for a midweek situation. No. But I will start the weekend early for sure.
Oh, you're a guy who loves the weekends. And as I stated in the Nathan Goldman interview, you do 1,200 trips and vacations a year. It's hard because there's only 52 weeks, but somehow he makes it happen.
Pull it off,
But you do this thing called productive procrastination. Explain to people what that is. And I think this is such a crucial part of your workflow.
So I think one thing that I've learned with like scheduling your time and understanding how you work is it doesn't end with putting in a calendar and telling yourself like that's what I'm going to do those days, because you can wake up and be just in a shitty fucking mood and not feel like doing some of those things, which doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do them. Especially in the creative field, I have to be motivated and awake and excited and passionate to like start drawing something.
Yeah.
And it's going to go like twice as slow if I'm not in a good mood for it.
It's emotional. A lot of people don't think about this, and I have the luxury of knowing both of these things, but creating artwork, illustration, like technical design, where there's a lot going into it, not just moving around text and boxes that a client gave to you. But when you're actually in the process of creating, it's just like playing music. Your heart has to be into it. Your emotion has to be into it. And once it is into it, you go into a vacuum where time goes by, the world around you melts, and you're just with your thoughts. It's one of the most freeing and best feelings. And frankly, it's what I miss the most about this job is I don't have that time to get lost anymore. Yeah. And that is the one thing I miss about design, but it's not enough to make me come back. So it is like playing music. So therefore, what do you do on the days when you don't feel like playing the music?
I'll forgive myself for moving around things in the schedule first. I'll like plan that ahead. I'll tell myself, look, it's 1 p.m. I still haven't even started on this fucking poster. I told myself I'd make half of it today. It's going to be okay if I start tomorrow. Okay. But there's things that are happening on Thursday and Friday that need to get done after this poster project was supposed to get done. Why don't I think about starting that stuff right now? And it's just shifting your calendar around and finding ways to get work done that you weren't planning on getting done that day just because you don't want to do the real work.
Thank you for listening. To hear more from Freedom Week, make sure you visit aidpodcast.com to hear all 5 episodes, 10 guests, 50 questions answered about freelance. That and 800 other episodes are available at aidpodcast.com. Thank you for listening.